Well, so this is a bit of a political shift that I didn't see coming. That is kind of a cool thing to see going on. So, let's read this. This is unexpected, to say the least. Protests erupt again in Iran after admissions of plane strike. Now, normally I would say that anywhere in Iran or Afghanistan or anywhere in the Middle East, normally when you hear that the people are protesting, it's kill America, kill all Americans, America's the enemy. But wait a minute. Iran admitting that it shot down that plane is having some far-reaching implications beyond what I think anybody is really seeing. Watch this. Protesters plied pressure on Iran's leadership on Sunday with demands for top authorities to quit after the Iranian military admitted it had mistakenly shot down a Ukrainian airliner at a time when it had feared U.S. strikes. Oh, really? Against their own government? Now that's interesting. Here's the best part. They are lying that our enemy is America. Our enemy is right here, dozens of protesters outside a university in Tehran chanted, according to video clips posted on Twitter. Scores of demonstrators were also shown gathered in other cities. And this is so important to be able to show these images without fear of copyright under the basis of transformation or news, which is why the report that I did on Jukin Media and doing the extortion on MXR plays into this as well. Look, imagine if we couldn't report on this. Imagine if we couldn't spread the message. These poor people saying, hey, we don't believe our government. This is a huge change of thought, especially publicly, for them to be able to publicly put on Twitter and post their ideas for the entire world to see. That is power, man. That is power. The social media posts could not be verified by Reuters, but state-affiliated media had reported protests on Saturday shortly after the Iranian military apologized for mistakenly bringing down the Ukrainian plane on Wednesday, killing all 176 souls aboard. Tehran residents told Reuters police were out in force in the capital on Sunday as public anger boiled up following days of denials by the military that it was to blame. Yep, and I said off the beginning their best policy is to admit it right off the bat, say it was a horrible accident, use it to their advantage to de-escalate things. But humans being humans and everybody trying to save face, not realizing they're cutting off their nose to save their own face, here we are. After days of denial by the military that it was to blame, even as Canada and the United States said a missile had brought the plane down. And evidently reports are out saying that the Ukraine had known from the very beginning that it was shot down by a missile, but they were scared of angering Iran, so they kind of low-keyed it. Riot police fired tear gas at thousands of protesters in the capital on Saturday, where many had chanted, "Death to the dictator," directing their anger at the Islamic Republic's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Wow! Normally we hear death to America. America is the great evil, but now we're hearing death to the dictator, and America is not our enemy. If we were smart, we would help them out and ride this moral wave higher and get it to a point where, hey, maybe they become our allies rather than an enemy. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? As long as we could do it without military intervention, but yeah, right. That ain't happening. Apologize and resign. Iran's moderate Edom Mad Daily wrote in a banner headline on Sunday, saying, the people's demand was for the responsible for mishandling the plane crisis to quit. Good on them, man. Good on them. And to go against a government like that, that takes some guts. You think protesting the American government is kind of risky? That's nothing, man. You have freedoms here in the United States that most people envy around the world. The latest upsurge in anger adds to challenges facing the authorities, which launched a bloody crackdown in November to quell protests. The leadership is also struggling to keep the crippled economy afloat under rigorous U.S. sanctions. Yes. And in addition to that, the United States is threatening to shut down Iraq's central bank. I know it's not related to Iran, but it's related to the region. If the United States, in retaliation for kicking out our troops, the central bank in New York is threatening to shut down or deny Iraq access to their bank account. That's important because that could create a power vacuum. Iraq could look towards Iran as big brother, basically, hey, help me out sort of thing. That's kind of a bad idea. But the more sanctions we put in the region, I kind of think that we might lead to a populace getting in power, and that could be a bad thing. When a country's in poverty, the citizens tend to look out for, ways, and we know the story. The Ukraine International Airlines plane was shot down minutes after taking off from Tehran on Wednesday, when Iranian forces were on alert for U.S. reprisals following tit-for-tat strikes, which is what it's been so far. Tit-for-tat strikes. You hit us, we hit you. You hit us, we hit you. Many of those on board were Iranians with dual citizenship, while 57 were holders of Canadian passports. Iran's president said it was a disastrous mistake and apologized, but a top Revolutionary Guards commander added to a public fury when he said he had told the authorities on the same day as the crash that an Iranian missile had struck the plane. So they blatantly lied. They blatantly lied about it. And what else do you expect? I mean, I fully wouldn't have expected them to take my advice and say, hey, we made a mistake, and use it to their advantage, which they very well could have been, and we would not have been in this position. I guarantee you that. The Guard's top commander, Hossein Salami, said, "We are more upset than anyone over the incident," state media reported. Revenge! Dun dun dun. But others said Iran's enemies, a term usually to refer to Washington and its allies, were exploiting the incident. Of course, you're always going to have the naysayers in any incident, no matter what, no matter how much evidence you put forth. Like, there's still people today that think we haven't been to the moon, when it would have been more expensive to fake the moon landing than it would have been to actually do the moon landing back in those days. They didn't even have the technology back in those days to fake the moon landing. Iran's enemies want to take revenge on the Guards for a military mistake, said Ali Shirazi, Khamenei's representative to the Quds Force, an elite Guards unit, state media reported. Of course. I mean, After Saturday's protest, U.S. President Donald Trump said on Twitter, "There cannot be another massacre of peaceful protesters, nor an internet shutdown. The world is watching." And the world is watching. And that is a good thing. Freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and fair use are all very important things that we have to be able to use and propagate and defend others being able to use as well. So, Britain said its ambassador in Iran had been briefly detained on Saturday, which Iranian media said was because he was inciting protests. Some lawmakers said the envoy should leave Iran before being ejected, media reported. This is interesting. I would have never thought that we would hear a statement of them saying this right here. They are lying that our enemy is America. Our enemy is right here. I mean, come on. We have all seen the videos. Death to America. America is the enemy. This is amazing. This could be a good thing. Now, this has happened before, and it's been quelched, and nothing came of it. But we live in a much more connected world nowadays. And memes and tweets can change hearts and minds. Good on them. Good on them. Being able to speak against your government is a wonderful thing. Give me your thoughts, your opinions. That's all I got on this one. I'll see you guys on the next one.